Tonight, the risk of seeking warmth.
They are sheltering it, they are cold, they keep setting up fire to stay warm, and now we are at risk of burning down also.
The increasing frequency of fires in vacant buildings. Plus, necessary funding.
The sector, 24 public colleges, is looking for an investment of $1.5 billion. That's just to sustain us at the level that we're at.
The pitch from Fanshaw's president to the provincial government. And exceptional attendance.
The response has been absolutely incredible and has exceeded our expectations.
The London Children's Museum thriving 1 year after relocation.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with concern from local firefighters over recent fires in vacant buildings. They say it's dangerous for the crews responding, while nearby business owners say they're growing frustrated. As Rita Ismail reports, they're often ignited by people trying to escape the cold.
Just after midnight, London fire crews were met with heavy smoke and fire at this vacant building next door to the London Portuguese Bakery on Hamilton Road.
There was big fire flames coming out of the roof, so we don't feel safe.
It's the latest in a string of fires caused by homeless people taking shelter inside vacant buildings, trying to stay warm. The former Kent Brewery was set ablaze earlier this month when a pair of fires ripped through the building, followed by another fire last week inside a vacant bank on Dundas Street.
These vacant building fires are very dangerous for our crews, not to mention the individuals that may be inside the vacant building, for us to do a primary and secondary search to make sure they're safe.
Businesses in the area say this isn't the first time, and they are fed up with the ongoing problem.
They are sheltering it, they are cold, they keep setting up fire to stay warm, and now we are at risk of burning down also, right? Like the fire last night.
It affects our business, it affects like our lives with the smell, with the unsecure people come in and out.
Business owners say they want long-term solutions, not short-term fixes.
The city should be addressed because, you know, when it's time to pay taxes, I pay taxes as well, right? It's not for free to be here. And Hamilton Road has been great to me since I came to Canada 35 years ago. I love it here, so I like to keep it here until it's time for me to retire.
On Monday, a city council committee will consider letters from councillors regarding current cold weather guidelines, including expanding homeless shelter capacity and opening additional warming centres. Rita Ismail, CTV News.
Officials with frontline homelessness agencies are raising concerns about a good neighbor clause, which will be considered at City Hall next week. With more on the issues, here's Daryl Newcomb.
A proposed good neighbor clause that City Hall might add to future contracts with homelessness agencies is raising questions and concern at London Cares.
There are so many things that we already do to be good neighbors, but this just takes it to that next level that creates a lot of harm, creates a lot of blame towards the social services agencies.
In December, Council directed staff to prepare a good neighbor clause for their consideration. The draft version would require agencies to keep the site and site perimeter clean and safe, hold quarterly community liaison committee meetings, develop a complaints process, have a site-specific security plan, and create a good neighbor plan with timelines and standards. But the staff report also includes this warning about good neighbor clauses. Quote, they become contractual obligations subject to remedies for breach, such as termination or non-renewal.
30,000 interactions per month here at 602 Queens. Thousands of interactions every single day in our outreach department. 40 people living in House of Hope. If London Cares didn't exist because it lost its contracts, I believe we would be in a humanitarian crisis.
At Arcade Street Mission, Sarah Campbell says they already work with neighbors and comply with city bylaws.
How far is the scope of this and what makes a good neighbor? I think the implication truly, though, is how much will it cost to do the work and how does that take away from the services that we are asked to provide in our community.
Councillor Susan Stevenson, who proposed drafting the Good Neighbour Clause, says terminating the contracts isn't the intent.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't see that we would ever terminate a contract over a Good Neighbour agreement.
She points to some other frontline agencies that she believes are already good neighbours.
With the Youth YOU shelter downtown, we don't have congregation issues. We don't have complaints about garbage and open drug use right outside. So it's figuring out what are they doing that can be embraced by some of the other shelters.
People want to punish social services locally for what is actually a provincial-wide systemic crisis. When we see homelessness numbers increasing, it's not the time to add more layers of bureaucracy when we're just trying to keep ourselves afloat.
The Community and Protective Services Committee will consider a Good Neighbour Clause on January 26th. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Another snow day for students across Midwestern Ontario, their fourth this week. Buses were canceled across the region because of the weather today. There are more snow squalls and blowing snow in the forecast tomorrow as well, which could mean a whole week of classes wiped out. And with a first look at the forecast, here's Julie Atchison.
Good evening. Snow and blowing snow continue out there tonight, and temperatures are starting to drop. Now, a wave of cold Arctic air is settling in, and with the wind chill overnight, it will feel close to -25. Now, the cold temperatures will see London Cares open additional overnight space for homeless Londoners, but the agency needs your help. There is a line of people seeking warmth outside the Commons at 602 Queens. Now, London Cares is making an urgent plea for items, including new socks, new underwear, and cold weather gear. A full list of what's needed is on their website. Now, as I mentioned, temperatures are starting to drop off in London right now. -8 to -11 in Midwestern Ontario, with the wind chill already feeling like -15 to -16. So waves of Arctic air moving in, snow and blowing snow continue. Blowing snow advisory in effect for Huron and Perth County. Snow squall warnings in effect for Grey and Bruce County, including the Bruce Peninsula. And in Northern Ontario tonight, widespread cold weather alerts. We're going to get to that in just a second. Now, in terms of conditions across our region, yes, we're dealing with the bitterly cold air mass, but also the snow squalls, as I mentioned. They continue tonight. London could see another 2 to 4 centimeters with blowing snow. Coming up, I'll take you through the extended forecast. We'll look ahead at a potential winter storm. Carlyle for Sunday. Lots to get to tonight.
Thanks very much, Julie. Fanshawe College's president is spearheading a campaign looking for a significant cash injection for colleges across the province. With more on the money those schools are asking for and why they say it's necessary, here's Jerry Dewan.
Uncertainty in the world economy, fueled largely by U.S. tariffs and policy volatility, sparked the Ford government to launch the Protect Ontario campaign with a goal of building a more diverse and resilient provincial economy. Fanshawe College President Peter Devlin says Ontario colleges should be central to that campaign.
The choices made today will shape Ontario's workforce and communities for years to come.
On Wednesday, Devlin addressed the committee of MPPs traveling the province as part of pre-budget consultations, stressing the importance of the training colleges provide.
By 2035, the province will need 1 million college graduates in skilled trades, healthcare, energy, and advanced manufacturing. Colleges supply more than half of the workforce in these sectors.
But Devlin says colleges are facing dramatic funding shortfalls. In 2025, Fanshawe slashed 40 programs, eliminating 35% of its workforce, accounting for about 400 jobs. He says even with those cuts, Fanshawe's deficit is $26 million and is projected to be more than $70 million over the next 2 years.
The funding deficit is the result of a few things. Stagnant provincial funding, also the cap on international students that was imposed by the federal government, and thirdly, tuition rates. They were reduced by 10% in 2019 and frozen.
Devlin says colleges need a significant cash injection just to maintain the current program levels.
The sector, 24 public colleges, is looking for an investment of $1.5 billion. That's just to sustain us at the level that we're at.
Committee member and Haldeman Norfolk Independent MPP Bobby Ann Brady raised concerns that the Fanshawe campus in her region appears to have many students not from the area, and she was looking for assurances that that would change.
We shift to domestic-focused students. What rebranding would Fanshawe College do to attract those kids who feel abandoned?
I think it's the relevancy of the programs in the local industries that are supported by that region, and I am entirely committed to supporting those programs.
But Devlin stresses that regional campuses could be at risk if funding levels aren't adjusted. He says Fanshawe drives $1.6 billion worth of economic benefits every year, with all colleges generating more than $20 billion for the provincial economy. Jerry DeWan, CTV News.
The provincial government has announced more than $60 million in funding for 5 Elgin County municipalities meant to upgrade critical infrastructure. As Brian Bicknell reports, it's hoped that money will support the projected growth in the region.
New homes cover the landscape in this corner of Elgin County. Talbotville in Southwold Township is about to welcome even more growth. The province has announced more than $24.6 million to upgrade and expand the Talbotville wastewater treatment plant. Mayor Grant Jones says it allows for even more investment.
We have the tract of land that runs from Amazon all the way down into Talbotville. It's around 1,500 acres of zoned industrial. So the sky's the limit. Really, it's just a matter of being able to service it at this point.
And Southwold is certainly not the only community growing out. In fact, small centers around Elgin are getting prepared for industry, large and small, and the population growth that comes with them. In addition to Southwold, Aylmer will receive $7.2 million for sanitary treatment lagoons. Central Elgin gets $9.3 million for flood mitigation in Port Stanley. Dutton Dunwich, $4.7 million for a wastewater treatment plant and pump station upgrades. And Malahide and Bayham Townships will receive $15.3 million for rehab of the Port Burwell secondary main.
So the whole region is very excited about the prospect of welcoming PowerCo and all the other industries that are coming, rightly so, to this area for all that we have to offer. But we already had the housing crunch before that, and now that's just been amplified. So this investment by the province in our area, it was essential and welcome.
The head of London Home Builders says up-to-date infrastructure makes it more attractive for builders to put shovels in the ground.
When services are there, when they're ready to be utilized, it makes a huge difference, and that's also what development charges usually go to fund and support. And so if other levels of government are coming in and supporting that at the front end, a lot of builders will know and acknowledge that that's ready to go. They don't have as many costs to come into that.
The funding announced by MPP Rob Flack's office is part of the $4 billion municipal housing infrastructure program. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Aylmer police say they've charged 3 teenage boys after a home was shot up this week. They say a bullet flew through a window Tuesday afternoon while the residents were inside. According to police, the suspects were found at a nearby home and a rifle was seized. Middlesex OPP say one person was killed in a crash east of London this afternoon. Police say the collision happened just after 1:30 p.m. on Dundas Street near Shaw Road. According to police, a dump truck and SUV collided. Police say the person driving the SUV was transported to hospital but did not survive. No word on any possible charges. London police say they've identified a woman they say robbed a store at knife point. Police say this woman is 24-year-old Julia Fuentes. Back on January 9th, they say she pulled out a knife and demanded cash from a worker at a business near Richmond and Fanshawe. Police are asking for help finding her, saying she's been charged with armed robbery. The mayor of Brockton says at least one shuttered jail in our region will reopen, a provincial government initiative meant to alleviate overcrowding concerns. With more, here's Scott Miller.
In 2011, 7 jails in small-town Ontario were closed in favor of using more cost-effective super jails. But prison overcrowding has prompted the reopening of one, possibly 2 of those jails, including one in Walkerton.
It's been a 15-year journey, 15-year fight. It was in 2012, 2011 that the Liberal government of the day shut down the jail to save money. and maybe they saved money, but certainly the residents of Brockton, Walkerton did not save money.
Following the closure of Walkerton's jail, the province said they'd cover the cost of transporting prisoners from the closest jail to the Bruce County Courthouse in Walkerton. They backed out of that deal in 2016. Last year, Bruce County spent $400,000 to transport prisoners from the Central North Correctional Centre in Penetanguishene to Walkerton's courthouse.
Right now, there's 72 people awaiting trial over in Penetanguishene. And to get here for the trial each day when it's held, they have to be driven here, and it's a 6-hour route because they go to Owen Sound first, and then they come down here, and then there's stops. So it's quite a long route, quite an expensive route.
Peabody says Ontario's Solicitor General has been looking for ways to ease Ontario's prison overcrowding issues, and instead of building new jails, he's going to reopen Walkerton's jail and another one, possibly in Brantford.
He's doing a similar thing in a county south of here, closer to Lake Erie, and he knows that it'll cost 1/6 the cost of doing a new build. So that'll open up approximately 70 spaces in the Walkerton jail.
At least some of the 32 jobs that were at the Walkerton jail when it closed will return, surmises Peabody, but he's not sure how many or when Walkerton's jail will reopen. It will certainly require some updates and renovations, though, because it has sat largely empty and unused for the last decade and a half.
Never made sense when it happened 15 years ago. As a counselor back then, I fought it really hard. I knew it was the wrong thing to do, and just very grateful to this current government for listening to municipal mayors.
In Walkerton, Scott Miller, CTV News.
The St. Thomas Sports Spectacular is underway tonight in the Railway City, supporting Special Olympics and Community Living Elgin. With more on the event and the elite athletes on hand for the festivities, we're joined live by Lauren Stallone. Lauren.
Thanks, Carlyle. That's right. The event has raised over $1 million for local Special Olympic athletes. Now, I am joined by NHL legend Ray Bourque. He played for the Boston Bruins, and he won a Stanley Cup with the Avalanche, the Colorado Avalanche. Now, Ray, why did you want to be here tonight, and why is this event so important?
Well, I was invited, and there's so much history to this event. You said 46 years and raising over $1 million, and you know, I do a lot of different things for charity. I have my own family foundation that I know how important it is to have guys show up and to be part of it and to make it a very special event. So I was honored for the invite, honored to be here. Just look back at some of the great people that were here, all these different athletes from different sports. So to be part of this, to make this night special, is awesome. My first time here in St. Thomas, and I'm really enjoying it, so it should be fun.
Amazing. And for anyone who's ever been told that they don't necessarily fit the mold of an athlete, what would you like to say to them?
I'd say look at these Special Olympic kids and the attitude and what they bring, their passion, their dedication to the sports that they're involved in. They're an example for us to kind of watch, and so just don't stop dreaming. Go for your dreams. I know I did, and I lived an amazing experience and lived a dream. So I say don't quit. Go for it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Ray. Before I let you go, I'm a massive Boston Bruins fan. Can you give me a Go Bruins Go?
Go Bruins Go, baby. They're playing Vegas tonight, so let's do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Ray. There you have it, Carlyle. I'm not sure how that one's going to go over with the Leafs fans in the newsroom, but I'll let you handle that one. Back to you.
I think a legend like Ray Bourque gets a pass. Thanks very much, Lauren. The London Children's Museum is celebrating a major boost in visitors. It moved into its new location a year ago, and officials say since then, attendance has more than doubled. Sean Irvin reports.
Young faces absorb the experience of the London Children's Museum. It is a common sight inside the attraction's new $23 million location at 100 Kellogg Lane. Since opening a year ago, it has exceeded attendance expectations. Staff had hoped visitor numbers would grow from 100,000 at the old location to 150,000 here. But to their pleasure, those numbers have skyrocketed off the charts this year.
The response has been absolutely incredible and has exceeded our expectations. We have welcomed over 250,000 people through our doors since opening last December.
Those checking out the space for the first time are only one part of the draw. Now, another reason for the big boost in attendance numbers is the location of the Children's Museum itself. Attached to the factory, it's drawing in tourists from all over Canada and the United States, to the tune of more than 70,000 out-of-town visitors.
Our new home is such a draw for families. With the hotel, the Children's Museum, the factory, there's so much to do here that families can come and spend an entire weekend, and that has also really contributed to the growth that we've seen.
With the museum's history spanning 3 locations over nearly 50 years, nostalgia also plays a significant role. Many grandparents remember bringing their kids to the old location.
I do, but this place is 10 times better.
It's just different. It's different in a good way. I feel like it's really fun. I have 3 kids, and they all really enjoy coming here, all the way up to age 9. So, yeah, it's fun for our family.
The boost in attendance has generated new revenue. But as a charity, the museum still relies on donors to help cover its $3 million annual budget.
Having such a response has been really incredible and certainly contributes to our sustainability as an organization. But also, we want to remain accessible, inclusive, and we rely on community support to ensure that we can keep our doors open.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Coming up, the Prime Minister's message back on home soil. Mark Carney's vision for Canada, which he says can thrive in a hostile world. Plus, full participation in polar protection, Canada's commitment to defending the Arctic.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvlondon.ca, your home for news.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Mark Carney spoke today about the values he says Canada was built on and what makes our country strong.
In this time of great consequence, we are choosing. We are choosing to work together to build one Canadian economy. We've made great progress over the past year. Now we have to redouble our efforts with the provinces and territories. We're choosing to find new markets and develop new partnerships. We've announced a dozen new economic and security partnerships across 4 continents in the last 6 months. More will come, all will deepen.
There were similar themes in today's address that Carney touched on in his speech at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland earlier this week. He did not take reporter questions today after concluding his speech. There's been sharp criticism from south of the border after Carney's World Economic Forum address. The U.S. Commerce Secretary has gone so far as to call it whining from Canada. With more on what that could mean for trade negotiations, here's Mike Lecouture.
Give me a break. They have the second best deal in the world. And all I got to do is listen to this guy whine and complain.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick called the Prime Minister's speech in Davos political noise. Tuesday, Mark Carney urged middle powers to band together against more powerful countries that use economic coercion. Lutnick warned those words will be remembered during this summer's trade review.
They have USMCA, which means 85% of the Canadian economy comes into the United States for zero. And there he is complaining that he's going to go to China and improve it.
Canada's finance minister pushed back on those comments.
Prime Minister said a lot of things that people thought, and he had the courage to say it loud. I think Canadians have understood by now that diversification is key.
Meanwhile, the reverberations of Carney's message continue to be felt with other world leaders.
I think we have a lot of Europeans who are in this first camp of multilateralism, whereas the American administration is driving multipolarity. And we're trying to make these two things meet.
Australia's treasurer called the speech stunning, adding it makes a powerful point about the old world order being over.
So the job for us, the job for our Canadian friends, is to work out how we can shape all of this change in our own interests.
California governor and possible Democratic presidential contender Gavin Newsom also praised Carney at Davos for calling out the current state of the world, adding Americans need to do the same. Mike Lecouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Federal government leaders say they are prepared to defend the Arctic region in the midst of a power struggle over the future of Greenland and our own northern territory. With the latest on that, here's Judy Trin.
Canada to really step up.
The framework for negotiating the future of Greenland was drafted in a meeting between the U.S. President and NATO's Secretary General. It could include more American bases and troops on Greenland and drilling rights to critical minerals, all to prevent Russia and China from gaining a foothold in the Arctic.
When it comes to Greenland specifically, their economy, their military situation, Russia and China will never get access.
And the Danes and sovereignty, is that all assured?
We didn't discuss at all about that issue.
The leaders of Denmark and the semi-autonomous territory of Greenland were not part of the discussion. They're not willing to give up their sovereignty.
We have some clear red lines what's been delivered to the president, and nothing about a deal on mineral resources or anything else. But that's something the further discussions that we are willing to take.
You know, NATO cannot just make an agreement with the United States about Greenland. NATO does not have that authority. So we're going to have to see how that plays out.
The framework involves boosting security for the entire Arctic region. There are 8 countries in the Arctic Circle other than Russia. All of them are NATO members. At Davos, the NATO chief met with Mark Carney. The Prime Minister committed to fully participating in the defense of the region. In a readout, Carney emphasized Canada's plan to quadruple defense spending over the next decade with investments in the Arctic, such as over-the-horizon radar, year-round presence on land, sea and air, and new critical infrastructure. Canada currently has about 300 full-time soldiers and 1,700 Canadian Rangers protecting the Arctic, along with 4 military bases. To quadruple defense spending in a decade will require spending about $150 billion annually. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
Julie's on the desk with me now, and I get the sense there might be a bit of an Arctic influence on your forecast the next couple of minutes. Are we hearing about some cold temperatures?
Yeah, in terms of waves of Arctic air, it's this, the polar vortex, once it becomes dislodged a bit, we see these waves of polar air move in.
And feel them.
Yes, and this forecast will be bringing that cold air down toward the Great Lakes. So today was -3, the high. That was overnight. So through the day today, the temperature hovering between about -6 and -8, and factoring in the wind chill, of course. You can feel it into the minus teens. The lake effect, snow is in full roar off Lake Huron tonight and Georgian Bay, bringing blowing snow, accumulating snow, gusty winds, tricky road conditions out there tonight, of course, and still some road closures. You saw off the top of the show still some bus cancellations and school closures through the day today, and likely again tomorrow as snow continues to pile up. Areas in Grey and Bruce County, you could see upwards of 20 centimeters of additional snow as we head through the overnight. So that cold air continuing to pour over the Great Lakes. Temperatures dropping tonight. I mentioned wind chills anywhere from -24 to -26. You're looking at your overnight lows, -12 to -16. We have this strong westerly flow over Lake Huron, and that's creating the lake effect snow, but also blowing snow. So a lot of rural areas, open fields, and that snow is just whipping through. So again, as we head through the overnight and into tomorrow, we will be talking more of lake effect snow. Extreme cold weather warnings in effect across the prairies tonight, stretching all the way from Alberta through Manitoba and Saskatchewan as well. Extreme cold warning, so feeling like -40 to -45 in most areas, but northern communities, it'll feel close to -50. Skin will freeze in seconds being outdoors with wind chills that cold. Then we get into northern Ontario with wind chills from -30 to -40. Now, we do not have an extreme cold warning in effect for us. That cold air still bottled up to the north, but we will see some of that cold come down as we head into Friday night, Saturday morning. So that's when we're expecting the coldest night, with temperatures dropping down between about -20 and -24, and then wind chills close to -30. So frigid temperatures, that'll be our weather story as we head into the weekend, and snowfall and snow squalls. Now in London today, today. We had some snow earlier. We broke into some sunshine. As we head through the evening, we still have some light flurries out there. Tomorrow, once again, potential for some lake effect snow with some flurries coming in. This secondary Arctic cold front, what it does is it comes in, it just reinforces the cold air over the Great Lakes. It brings that wave of cold in, activates the lakes, brings back the lake effect snow. Now, Saturday, things will quiet down. The air mass that's coming in is extremely dry. So Saturday, early in the day, we're expecting a fair amount of sunshine to a mix of sun and cloud. But there is a big weather system developing stateside. So this is going to move through the middle Mississippi Valley, Tennessee, Kentucky area as a major ice storm. On the northern flank of it, as that cold air comes in, we'll see the snowfall out of it. At this point, it looks to edge a bit further north. I was telling you about this last night. So we could see 5 to 10 centimeters in areas in Midwestern Ontario, but in London, likely about 10 centimeters. And this weather system's coming in Sunday. Forecast model showing the lake effect snow. Same thing for tomorrow. Flurries and blowing snow and additional snowfall amounts close to 20 centimeters. Trace amounts in London. The temperature is going to drop tomorrow evening. So by time you head home for the day, we'll be falling down to about -18. So an abnormal temperature trend in terms of our daytime high. Saturday, I mentioned the sunshine at -13, clouds moving in Saturday night, and then snow in the forecast Sunday. Sunday will be one to watch. Monday, cloudy with a chance of flurries, temperatures well below normal. Daytime highs from -8 to -10. Remember, a normal daytime high for this time of year is -3. Frigid temperatures in Midwestern Ontario, blowing snow and snow squalls overnight. And again, tomorrow, they will become a bit more localized as we head into Saturday. They'll shut down and just flurries left at -15. That dry air, light winds will allow the winds not to come off the lake as strong. And then as we head into Sunday, about 5 centimeters towards Grey Bruce, 10 centimeters in Huron and Perth. So much weather, Carlyle. I mean, it's cold, it's snowy. January is just hanging on and just showing us all its might. So heading into the weekend, another storm system to watch for Sunday.
All right, Julie, thanks very much. Still ahead, taking a loss on the Canadian dollar. Why some Vegas hotels are offering to exchange at par to revive tourist traffic.
We've got another set of keywords for Pure Country 93's a big ticket for here coming up tomorrow morning at 8:40 and again at 4:40 in the afternoon. Plus, tomorrow, Boss Brad joins me in the studio and we put his country music knowledge to the test.
Recent travel numbers have shown a steady decline in Canadians heading south of the border, often citing negative feelings toward the states. President Donald Trump has said Americans don't need Canadian products, but that sentiment isn't entirely shared in the tourism sector. Pat Foran reports.
A U.S. report found that in 2024, Canadian tourism contributed more than $20 billion to the U.S. economy and supported 140,000 American jobs. But as many Canadians refuse to travel to the U.S., the hospitality industry is hurting. That's especially true in Las Vegas.
There's all the hotels behind me. They all want Canada to come back just as much as I do.
Derek Stevens, the CEO of Circa Resort and Casino, the D Las Vegas, and the Golden Gate Hotel and Casino, is taking a gamble that some Canadians will come back with a dollar-for-dollar deal.
We miss Canadians. And for me personally, I grew up in a border town of Detroit and Windsor. And I got to see how close we really all were.
Stevens says at his resorts, Canadians will get a financial break until August 31st with the At Par program. Canadian guests will receive $1 U.S. in value for every Canadian dollar spent, regardless of the daily exchange rate.
I want to make sure that Canadians know you still have a lot of friends in America.
I understand why they're doing it. It's been really hard on American tour operators, the loss of the Canadian visitor.
Lauren Christie says he's not surprised Las Vegas casinos want to roll the dice on an idea to get Canadians back, but he questions if it will be enough.
I'm not sure that it's going to have much of effect. It may entice a few people going down, but anecdotally, from what I hear, people are just not interested in going to the United States this year.
Stevens says along with hotel charges being at par with the U.S. dollar, Canadians will be able to redeem up to $500 in slot promotional play, as well as get deals on drinks. He's hopeful some Canadians will make the trip.
I could say there's a lot of Americans that hope that some of the rhetoric dies down and we get back to being what we really are, allies and best friends.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Several lawsuits have been filed against Toys R Us over millions of dollars in unpaid rent. There are at least 7 lawsuits from landlords who say they're collectively owed more than $30 million. Court documents show the toy store chain failed to pay rent for several of the properties it occupied in 2024 and 2025. The company has since moved out of many of the locations identified in the lawsuits and closing dozens of stores in recent years. Canada's main stock index rose on the strength of the utility and telecom sectors. The TSX was up 151 points. In New York, the Dow added 307, the Nasdaq up 211. The Canadian dollar gained almost 1/10 of a cent. On commodity markets, gold is up almost $76 an ounce. Oil lost $1.26 a barrel. Later on CTV News, who's in the running for the Academy Awards? We break down the Oscar nominations and the early favorites. Welcome back. Officials with Marineland have sent a plan to the federal government asking for permits to ship dozens of animals to 4 American aquariums. However, the plan also states if this request is denied, they're reportedly threatening to euthanize the 30 whales and 4 dolphins. With more, here's John Venevalley-Rao.
Since last summer, the future of these belugas has been a huge question mark, captive in a shuttered theme park which closed months ago. Now Marineland in Niagara Falls pitching a plan to ship the animals to the States, reportedly making plans to euthanize them if Ottawa says no to the proposal.
I think it could very well be the best place for these animals to go, but I think it's so wrong that Marineland is holding the government hostage and they're threatening to kill their whales if they don't get the answer that they're looking for.
In what's being called an urgent rescue proposal, Marineland's 30 remaining belugas and 4 dolphins would reportedly be sent to aquariums in Orlando, Atlanta, Chicago, and Stonington, Connecticut. Marineland has said it can't afford to look after the whales and wants to sell the property. Last year, it pitched transferring them to an aquarium in China, but Ottawa denied that request.
You want to send them to a place where there's accountability. The original proposal to send the whales to China didn't address that. This new proposal does.
Some had hoped they could be moved to a proposed seaside sanctuary in Nova Scotia, but it has yet to raise the millions it needs to open. In a statement, the Fisheries Minister's office confirmed the minister was presented with new export permit applications and that the minister will review them expeditiously. 20 whales have died at Marineland since 2019, and experts say sending them to multiple aquariums in the U.S. is hardly a perfect solution.
It's going to break them up, so that's not great for family and relationship bonds between the animals.
And some would like to see assurances they won't be used for breeding, which is illegal in Canada.
Still, the experts we talked to all think Ottawa will give the proposal the green light, given the options that remain. John Venevalley-Rao, CTV News, Toronto.
After falling just short of a World Series win, tickets for the upcoming Toronto Blue Jays season went on sale today, and the home opener is already sold out.
They were a team that just kind of came out of nowhere. So can they repeat that? You know, hopefully.
It took all of 15 minutes for every home opener ticket to get snatched up. And for the ones who did get a seat, they'll witness a special pregame ceremony celebrating the start of the team's 50th season. That game is March 27th against the Athletics.
Hi there, it's time for your London list. We're joined by Jeff Kelly from Mornings on Virgin Radio. Jeff, this time of year, people start to get cabin fever. We need to get out, do something. What's happening this weekend, Friday night? What can we do?
Not shockingly, there's a lot going on. So London Knights, so they're gearing up for, we say a big game because Sarnia, not really the opponent you need to face with only 13 wins in the season. But this is the team to beat, to put those 2 points on the board, to get much closer to the Kitchener Rangers. So it's huge, and tickets are still available.
All right, so that's a good game to watch and a good matchup. This time of year as well, we start to hope for spring and maybe think about some spring projects. There's an event going on that could help with that.
Yeah, Lifestyle Home Show. It's back, Western Fair District. It's going to be a time with hundreds of different exhibitors. We were talking about a sauna, spas. They're there. All the different vendors you'd want for things for spring projects, including a new home build.
All right, so lots of ideas and all the people that you need to build those things.
Absolutely.
All right, This time of year as well, restaurants tend to have a little bit of a downslope, but there's an event that can help that, and it's great because you get to try new things, new restaurants.
Londonlicious,
Okay.
It's back. We're so spoiled in this city and region to have some phenomenal spots. So Londonlicious with Growing Chefs Ontario. So they put this together. All those participating restaurants have specialized menus, so it gives you the ability to try a little bit of everything when you're in, and at a very affordable price, knowing people had a tough holiday season. And you can check it all out, londonlicious.ca, full interactive map.
All right, well, thanks so much, Jeff. That's your London list. Have a great weekend. Stay warm. Oh, before we go, are you doing anything fun this weekend?
Bowler.
Bowler, yes.
Absolutely.
Ski conditions are fantastic. I can't wait to get out as well. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.
Tomorrow on CTV News, a look inside London's new micro shelters, where the project stands after delays pushed back its official opening. That's tomorrow on CTV News at 6.
Beautiful artwork with frozen bubbles. Thanks so much, Lynn, for sending this in. Deep freeze descends on the region and a potential snowstorm on Sunday. Temperatures are dropping with wind chills close to -30.
The 98th Annual Academy Award nominations were announced this morning. With more on the frontrunners and the Canadian content up for recognition, here's Andrea Case.
Sinners, the vampire horror box office hit, was released way back in April. It received 16 Academy Award nominations, the most ever in the Academy's 98-year history. Nominations include 3 for Ryan Coogler, Best Director, Best Picture, and Best Screenplay. On the film's acting side, a Best Acting nod to Michael B. Jordan, Best Supporting Actor for Delroy Lindo, and Best Supporting Actress Wunmi Masaku. If there's a film which can give Sinners a run for its money, that film is One Battle After Another. It garnered 13 nominations, including Best Director and Best Film for Paul Thomas Anderson. He's been nominated 11 times and never won one yet. His cast, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Sean Penn, and Tiana Taylor, were all nominees, but no nomination for Chase Infinity. Locally, made in Toronto, Frankenstein received numerous nominations, including Jacob Elordi, who played the monster, and Toronto producer J. Miles Dale in the Best Film category. And the wild ride continues for Toronto's Maggie Kang, whose K-pop Demon Hunters was nominated in the Best Animated Film category, and Golden was nominated for Best Original Song. 11 actors are first-time nominees, including from the film Sentimental Value, Stellan Skarsgård, Renate Rintsev, Inga Ibsdottir Lilius, and Elle Fanning. Sentimental Value received 9 nominations, as did Marty Supreme, giving star Timothée Chalamet his second Best Actor nomination in 2 years. You also heard his name called as a producer on the film. Rounding out the Best Film list, Bugonia, F1, Hamnet, The Secret Agent, and Train Dreams. Comedian Conan O'Brien will host the 98th Academy Awards on March 15th. You can watch them right here on CTV, CTV's division of Bell Media. Andrea Case, CTV News.
The stars of the popular hockey drama Heated Rivalry will be part of the upcoming Olympic torch relay.
You will not be so nice when we beat you.
That's not happening.
Hudson Williams and Connor Story star in the series, which was produced by CTV's Bell Media partner Crave. According to the show's international streamer HBO Max, Williams and Story will be among the torchbearers for next month's Winter Games in Italy, where the show is set to start streaming just days before competition gets underway.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Hi, I'm Sherry Flick, host of Weekend Spotlight, Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. here on CTV London. This week, we're going to take you back to the days of the Stork Club and Wonderland Gardens with Swing in the West Wing, a great dancing and eating event coming up soon. Also, January, Dry January. We're going to speak with the founder of Dry Variety, give you some other options to choose this time around. And Youth Opportunities Unlimited, we'll find out more about them. Saturday, 8 a.m.
Finally tonight, a collection of hockey cards hitting the auction block a century after they were minted. As Colton Weens reports, a Windsor man saved them from the trash decades ago, and he's now ready to cash in.
Very rare. Yeah, you don't see discoveries like this very often, especially ones that haven't been offered in the hobby. They've sort of stayed in one family for this whole 100 years.
Ben Pernfuss calls it a once-in-a-lifetime find. 51 hockey cards from the 1924-25 Champs Cigarettes hockey set, one of the most desirable Canadian tobacco issues in the hobby, are now up for auction at Miller & Miller.
The main card in this set is the Stanley Cup card, and this is the first time the Stanley Cup was ever featured on a card. 1924, so it's over 100 years old now, and it's considered sort of the rookie card of the Stanley Cup. Some people would throw around the word holy grail for hockey cards in terms of pre-war hockey, but it also includes some pretty incredible names like Howie Morenz, Jack Adams, Hap Day. There's a lot of great names in this set, and people love it.
Produced by the Tobacco Products Corporation of Hamilton in 1924, Pernfuss says they almost never made it to the auction block. As the story goes, Donald Batter from Windsor found the cards in a tobacco box his father had in 1988.
He asked his dad whether he could have them, and his dad said, yes, but I was just about to throw them out. So these cards were destined to be thrown out in 1988.
He convinced his father to let him have them and kept them in a safety deposit box until they reached 100 years old.
Donald wanted the world to see these cards. He'd had them in his family for 100 years, and now is the time to let them go.
Batter's father originally got the cards by trading a similar collection of cards featuring birds of Canada.
They're similar size, same age, but they had birds on them. So he traded a collection of bird tobacco cards for hockey tobacco cards, and it was a good trade.
Well, as a collector, would those birds be worth anything?
They'd be worth about $5 each.
The cards are now up for auction through Miller & Miller, and current bids on the Stanley Cup and Clarence Hap Day cards have already reached $17,000 respectively. The auction closes on Sunday night at 6, and Pernfuss is already impressed with how high the current bids have gone.
I hope to find another one. I don't expect to. I think this might be one of those once-in-a-lifetime finds.
Colton Weens, CTV News, New Hamburg.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.